Newcastle. It's so far north, they might as well just be Scottish. Well, to me anyway, from the southeast of England. The most northern of the English cities has given us beer that tastes like a polluted canal, bright orange women scuttling about in the snow in tampon string exposingly small dresses, and his conjoined enter-twinner, Deck, the serious-faced football legend that is Alan Shearer, the less serious-faced football legend that is Paul Gascoigne, Stotty Cake, which is not a cake, but actually bread, and of course the country's most endearing accent. After Birmingham.
Winner, chicken dinner!
Oh, what is it all about?
Oh, about, sorry. Sometimes it's difficult to understand the Geordie people.
They also gave us Geordie Racer, which was a kids' show that starred Kevin Whately, famous from his stints as a Cambridge-based police detective in both Morse and the eponymously titled sequel Lewis, and as Nev in a Workman Abroad comedy drama Auf Wiedersehen Pet. He is unquestionably the biggest star involved with this production, playing the father of Richard Spuggy Hilton, with the Spuggy nickname being the Geordie parlance for a sparrow. The series follows young Spuggy, who isn't interested in running like the other more athletically minded in his family, but instead is more into the idea of pigeon fancying. I mean, have you seen the way they walk? They don't half give me the horn. I jest, of course, pigeon fancying is a noble art of looking after and racing pigeons. I hope you didn't think that Jack Duckworth was slipping the poor cooers a length in the garden behind Vera's back. Spuggy owns a fine air rat in the form of Blue Flash, one of the finest pigeons in all of Newcastle. In addition to these sporting endeavours, avian antics and the family drama, Spuggy also ends up involved in solving clues that could lead to uncovering the dodgy dealings of an art thief, aided by his friend Janie. Well, I never. Life in Newcastle seems very exciting for the average 1980s 10-year-old boy. Geordie Racer was broadcast in 1988 as part of the Look and Read children's entertainment programming on BBC. I've covered this programming before, along with its fearful floating space entity, Wordy, the creepy swine. And the reason I covered it before? Well, it's because of the BBC Micro and Archimedes game title, Through the Dragon's Eye, which you can observe via either a link above or at the rear end of this production. Geordie Racer was indeed the first game in the same collaboration between the BBC and Longman Logotron that would give us the Through the Dragon's Eye title, and it has a similar look and, sadly for us, a similar educational bent. We don't like being educated on this channel. Stop trying to teach me things, you utter scoundrels. Just like Through the Dragon's Eye, this has a BBC Micro and Archimedes version, and just like that game, I'll be concentrating on the BBC Micro version today. Geordie Racer was released to primary schools in 1987 and was programmed by the same team that were behind the aforementioned title, those being Messrs Peter Smith, David Watkins and Christopher Russell. I'm sure visually that you can see that it is a bedfellow, dragons and pigeons together at last. So are we sitting comfortably, children? It is time for our digital lesson to begin. No pulling your pud at the back, Simon. Put it away. Geordie Racer is a fairly short game, so you'll be seeing everything that this game has to offer, which is going to be of great interest to Tyneside Columbarde fetishists. That's Newcastle-based pigeon fanciers. I completed the game in all of 25 minutes, but I'm sure Geordie Racer speedrunners can get that down to 20 minutes. There's an exciting YouTube challenge. In Through the Dragon's Eye, we were guided through the game by a lizardy biggin called Gorwin, who was pretty much the rubber-suited star of the show. Here we get the Look and Read warm-up act and terrifier of children in chief, that being Wordy. I bloody hate you, Wordy, you typeset apparition. Never darken my halls again, you orange schmuck. He gives you an overview of the controls, but can also give you any hints should you press the escape key, which will help you if you get stuck in this primary school educational title. You start by choosing your pigeon from 3 candidates, like an avian version of Cilla Black's Blind Date. I went with Homer because, well, The Simpsons both exists and is good. Strangely, and I don't believe this is in line with the series, once selected, Homer immediately starts talking to you, thanking you and declaring that he's a fussy eater. Is this like a first date we're on with this pigeon or what? Your first task is to feed him food in the order that he likes. Now, I'm not sure Spuggy should be giving a racing pigeon ice cream, but he's the expert. Maybe it's a hot day. The aim of this section is to guess what the word is using the first letter of each of those words, but I'm pretty sure you've guessed that already. Next, and we're introduced to the dastardly thief, Beastly Baz, and your chosen bird has to race whilst grabbing Baz's stolen goods on the way. It's an unspeakably perilous journey, with most attempts resulting in the death of your chosen bird, be it being electrocuted, devoured by a hawk or a cat, or apparently being bummed by Beastly Baz. I guess that's why they called him Beastly Baz. The deaths are expected, as this is supposed to be a memory game. You'll have to remember each step to ensure your bird survives and you liberate the loot. Can I be the first person on the entire planet to compare the 80s BBC game Geordie Racer with From Software's Dark Souls? Yes, I can. You're still with your cooing cohort on the next screen, which has the bird trying to make his way home using lights. It's a challenge that teaches the player about map directions and is about as exciting as that sounds. Find your way home, and Baz, crazed by his lust, has already paid a traumatising visit to your coop and stolen the key. A baby pigeon called Fluff knows a secret entrance, but unhelpfully will only let you pass if you answer some questions, like that fella on the bridge in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. He wants you to give him words made out of the letters in your name. Give him the words and you can gain access to your coop, and give him a clip round the ear for his insolence, if he had an ear. Spuggy then has to decipher a riddle delivered via the anklets of 4 birds that will help him identify where the remaining stolen goods are. It is a game of which verb goes where, so I hope you pass this. Otherwise, I will be very disappointed in you. Finally, Baz has been a right dastard and not only has written a poem about his deeds, but has jumbled up the words. You have to untangle this web of deceit, and Spuggy will then know what he has to find. From there, we skip right past the part where Spuggy finds out where the goods actually are, which is arguably the most key part of his investigation, apart from, I guess, knowing what he's looking for. But he's only a bairn, so we'll let him off. That's what Geordies call babies or kids, isn't it? Bairns? Or is that Scottish? I don't know. He's found his way to Delaval Hall, but Baz is already there. Oh my days, can you stay ahead of this here brute? In each cranny, you're presented with an issue and 12 objects to solve that there issue. Get it right and you'll advance to the next cubby hole. Get it wrong and Baz will move forward and grasp you, no doubt. Once you've liberated the valuables, it's time to board the North East's premier light rail rapid transit system, the Metro. Because of all your sleuthing about, you've negated to prepare for the Great North Run. So it's time to go on a madcap jaunt around Toon. You'll make a few circuits around as you collect all the bits and bobs that you'll need for the arduous 13.1 mile journey from Newcastle to South Shields, including a kiss from your ma. He loves his family. You'll need to do all the tasks in the correct order before starting. Baz is in South Shields already, planning to flee by paddle boat to Europe, no doubt with designs on carrying out further heists and bestial crimes upon the Dutch or Norwegian coasts. So you've got extra motivations to complete the run. The race itself consists of a series of questions about the game so far. You'll need to ensure you get no more than 6 incorrect, as each wrong answer equals a blister for your poor old feet. Running with 6 blisters would be a right pain, and I would definitely give up, and I'm not even a weird Geordie kid with a weird bird obsession. If you complete the race though, you'll still have an opportunity to stop beastly Baz. Which cave would you most like to visit out of quiet, noisy or smelly? Me personally, none of those, thanks. They sound atrocious. Explore though you must, and with each cave entered, Baz gets a little further away. It's another trial and error game, just like the one encountered earlier by Homer the Pigeon. No, I'm not taking that red herring, so back off with it. In the noisy cave though, you'll encounter some bats who will be very inquisitive and will ask you why the smelly cave is so smelly. And if you know the answer to that, they will give you a silver spade to dig in said cave. And if you dig in there, you'll find a sea serpent. A sea serpent. Hell of a thing to drop in during the closing sequence of an adaptation of a fairly grounded story of a child struggling with the expectations of his family. I don't know why I'm surprised we've had talking pigeons, child-eating rats and scent-obsessed silver spade owning bats recently. A sea serpent, to be fair, isn't too big a stretch. In case you're wondering, Baz and his henchmen actually get snared by getting stranded on the Tyne swing bridge in the show and book, so it's not nearly as exciting. You'll have to direct the lizard, though, in this version, to Baz's boat where he presumably eats the villain. Yay! Spuggy and Homer will have saved the cloaca of every bird in Europe from this creepy ravisher of airfowl. And that's it. Wordy congratulates you, and you may be on your merry way, bonny lad. So my thoughts on it are, well, it seems unfair to compare educational titles for little ones to normal games, so I'll judge it against games I've played in the past that have had an educational tilt. And really, I can only sort of compare it to the game that followed it, Through the Dragon's Eye, because it's in an educational niche of its own. These are used as teaching aids. And well, Through the Dragon's Eye is better. It's longer and it has much more character, but perhaps that's a little bit unfair because Through the Dragon's Eye has the advantage of being set in a fantastical setting. Mind you, as seen in the later part of the game, Geordie Racer has no qualms in jumping the fantastical shark. What it boils down to is this: Geordie Racer is designed to be used by a set of kids once in one computer session and then not played again until the next class comes in, perhaps not till the following year when it's dusted off and played again. And that probably only lasted for a couple of years anyway. But I'm sure at the time for those children in the late 80s, it was incredibly exciting to play as opposed to just sit there with a textbook listening to a teacher drone on. So for that, I guess it's okay. It's functional. It's designed to be played once, and for that, it does it very well. But it's not as good as Through the Dragon's Eye, which is exactly the same thing, but done a bit better. There isn't anything in the way of reviews, so instead, let's just look at this pigeon being odd for a couple of seconds. That was nice. Next in the series, and we will stick to our avian friends as we try out the licensed kart racing game of that filthily named airborne headbanger, Woody Woodpecker. Woody Woodpecker. Each part of his name is unadulterated filth. Like, subscribe, and K thanks, bye.